Hello and welcome to this episode of Math. I am your host. So, Algebra 2, we're going to review our vertex forms really quickly. So, what is a vertex? So, when you have your graph, the vertex is basically where the parabola starts or where the function is. If it's absolute value, if it's a parabola, which is a quadratic, it's going to have a place where it starts. Okay? And your vertex is always h comma k, which, by the way, is same as x comma y. It's the exact same thing. They just like to make life complicated, so we call it HK. All right. Really quickly, so we have the four types of equations. So we have absolute value. So f of x equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. That's your absolute value form, yeah? Okay. Then we have our quadratic f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. This is a quadratic because it's squared because there's an exponent of 2, right? Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep going. We have absolute value. We have a quadratic. We had, linear. F of x is equivalent to y equals mx plus b. That's just a linear function. There is only one x, okay? And then we have, after linear, we have our square root function. Thank you. F of x is equivalent to a x minus h. That's all under a square root plus k, right? So if you forget these four functions, this is absolute value. Absolute value. This is quadratic. 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 This is linear, right? And this is a square root. Okay? A, H, and K are always going to be your vertices. So when you have a square root, it looks like this. Something like this, just random equation, right? If it's linear, you know it's a straight line somewhere like that. If it's quadratic, you know it's going to be a parabola, some type of parabola, whether it's up or down. And if it's absolute value, you're going to have a straight line. So if we just pretend it's like that, it's going to look like a V. Absolute value with a V inside of it. Okay, so these are the four functions that we talked about in vertex form. You have your absolute value, your quadratic, your linear, and your square root.